The cooler wasn't just a cooler. It was a battle line drawn in the dirt of a small-town park, where Karen's entitlement crashed headfirst into a Marine's unyielding pride. On a sweltering July afternoon, the kind where heat waves shimmer off the asphalt and tempers flare like dry kindling, Karen strutted into the annual lakeside community picnic with her signature scowl. She was a local legend, not for kindness or wit, but for her uncanny ability to turn any minor inconvenience into a public spectacle. Today, her target was a battered blue cooler, sitting innocently by a picnic table, filled with ice-cold drinks meant for a group of veterans enjoying a rare day of camaraderie. Karen didn't ask. She never did. Spotting the cooler, she marched over, her flip-flops slapping the ground like a war drum, and declared it unattended property. In her mind, that made it hers. The cooler belonged to Staff Sergeant Marcus Reed, a Marine who'd seen 2 tours in Afghanistan and carried the weight of those years in his quiet, steely demeanor. Marcus wasn't looking for a fight, but when he turned from a conversation with his buddies to see Karen hauling his cooler toward her SUV, something snapped. Not rage, not yet, just a deep, bone-weary refusal to let this slide. "Ma'am, that's mine," Marcus called, his voice calm but edged with authority. The park went quiet. Heads turned. Karen froze, one hand on the cooler's handle, her eyes narrowing like a predator sizing up prey. "Yours?" she scoffed, loud enough for the growing crowd to hear. It was just sitting there. Finders, keepers. The audacity hung in the air, thick as the humidity. A murmur rippled through the onlookers, some amused, others appalled. Marcus stepped closer, his boots crunching the grass, his frame taut with controlled intensity. "Put it down," he said, not a request but a command forged in years of discipline. Karen didn't budge. She doubled down, her voice rising to a shrill pitch that could shatter glass. "I'm not breaking any laws. You can't just leave stuff lying around and expect people not to take it." She gestured wildly, as if the crowd were her jury. A few phones were out now, recording the scene. Marcus's jaw tightened, but he kept his cool, his voice low and deliberate. "That cooler's got my name on it. It's got drinks for my brothers here. You're stealing from veterans." The word "stealing" hit like a slap. The crowd's murmur grew louder, a mix of gasps and muttered agreements. What Karen didn't know, what nobody knew until later, was that the cooler wasn't just about beer and soda. Inside, tucked among the ice, was a small, weathered photo of Marcus's squad from his last deployment. It was one of the few mementos he had left of a friend who didn't make it home. To Marcus, that cooler was a lifeline to memories he rarely spoke of. To Karen, it was just another thing she deserved. The standoff escalated. Karen, sensing the crowd's judgment, went full tilt. She yanked the cooler closer, spilling ice onto the grass, and launched into a tirade about her rights, her taxes, and how nobody respects hardworking women like me. Marcus didn't flinch. He stepped within arm's reach, his presence a wall of quiet strength. "Last chance," he said. "Put it down, or I call the cops." Karen laughed, a sharp, mocking sound. "Go ahead. They won't do anything." She was wrong. Someone in the crowd had already dialed 911, fed up with Karen's antics. Within minutes, a patrol car rolled into the park, lights flashing. Officer Jenna Torres, a no-nonsense cop with a reputation for cutting through drama, stepped out. She assessed the scene, Karen, red-faced and clutching the cooler like a trophy, Marcus, arms crossed, radiating calm fury, and a crowd buzzing with anticipation. "What's going on here?" Torres asked, her tone clipped. Karen spoke first, her words a torrent of half-truths and indignation. "This man's harassing me. I found this cooler, and he's trying to intimidate me." Marcus didn't interrupt. He let her dig her own grave. When it was his turn, he spoke simply, "It's my cooler. My name's on it." She took it without asking. Torres raised an eyebrow, glanced at the cooler, and sure enough, M. Reed was scrawled in faded marker on the side. She turned to Karen. "You took something that wasn't yours. That's theft." Karen's face twisted in disbelief. "Theft? Are you kidding me? It's a cooler." The crowd was no longer amused, their whispers turned to jeers. Torres didn't blink. "You can explain it at the station. Let's go." She reached for Karen's arm, but Karen jerked away, shouting about lawsuits and her cousin who knows the mayor. That's when she made her fatal mistake. She shoved Torres. Not hard, but enough to cross a line. In seconds, Karen was face down on the grass, hands cuffed behind her back, her flip-flops askew. The crowd erupted, some cheering, others stunned. Marcus watched in silence as Torres hauled Karen to the patrol car. He didn't gloat, he just picked up his cooler, checked the contents, and rejoined his friends. The photo was still there, safe among the melting ice. But the victory felt hollow. He hadn't wanted a public spectacle, a woman humiliated. He just wanted what was his. At the county jail, Karen sat in a holding cell, her bravado gone. The cold concrete bench and flickering fluorescent lights stripped away her defiance. She wasn't a villain, not really, just a woman so wrapped up in her own narrative that she couldn't see the harm she caused. She'd expected a slap on the wrist, maybe a fine. Instead, she faced charges of theft and assaulting an officer. The cooler incident wasn't just a story now, it was a legal mess that could cost her job, her reputation, everything. Word spread fast. By evening, the park confrontation was all over social media, with hashtags like Cooler Karen and Marine Justice trending locally. Some called Karen a symbol of unchecked privilege, others argued she was just having a bad day. Marcus, meanwhile, avoided the spotlight. He didn't post about it, didn't gloat. When a local reporter tracked him down, he said only, "I just wanted my stuff back." Nobody needed to get hurt. The story didn't end at the jail cell. Karen's family bailed her out the next day, but the damage was done. Her employer, a local insurance agency, put her on leave pending an investigation. Neighbors who once nodded politely now avoided her. The park, once her stage, became a place of whispers and pointed fingers. Karen wasn't a monster, but she'd let her worst impulses, entitlement, stubbornness, define her in a moment that couldn't be undone. Marcus, too, carried scars from the day. He hated how the incident had turned his private pain into public entertainment. That photo in the cooler wasn't just a memento, it was a reminder of a brother lost to war, a wound he'd never fully closed. He didn't care about winning against Karen. He cared about respect, something she trampled without a thought. The lakeside community picnic was meant to bring people together, but it exposed a deeper divide, between those who take and those who protect, between entitlement and honor. Karen's downfall wasn't just about a cooler, it was about a mindset that valued self over community. Marcus's stand wasn't just about pride, it was about holding on to what mattered in a world that too often forgets. In the end, the cooler sat back in Marcus's garage, a silent witness to a day that changed 2 lives. Karen faced her consequences, but they didn't bring Marcus peace. The crowd moved on, chasing the next viral story, but the weight of that afternoon lingered for those at its heart. What do you think? Was Karen's punishment fair, or did the situation spiral out of control? Where do you draw the line between standing up for yourself and escalating a conflict?